Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. You know, I get asked all the time valuable, believable questions. Are you really a journalism professor? You? Really? Why? Valid questions. And while I would never pretend to be the smartest person in the room or the best in terms of being accurate, I think all reporters get things wrong. I have gotten things wrong before, and I will get things wrong in the future, but I do my best to let you know when I'm wrong and try to learn from my mistakes. But the reason why I got into journalism was because I didn't want to do a 9-to-5 job. I wanted to do something different, something that was no 2 days like the same. And that's why I love YouTube. Because especially when you're doing things like reporting the day-to-day news in a gaming community, the game constantly evolves. We sometimes take for granted that each month in this game is like a whole new level of a video game. From side quests to event quests to the resetting of things like the Eternity of Pain in the last several months. But even not even Alliance Quest, Alliance War, now Battlegrounds, Incursions, there's always something new going on, not to mention new champions, new buffs, new plans for down the road. Always something new. Never 2 days that are the same. With that being said, I can't believe this is actually happening. So, in Battlegrounds, this probably doesn't affect most people watching this. Because you're using 5 stars sometimes, but probably mainly 6 stars on attack and defense, given the state of the game and how somehow we are now just a few months away from 7 stars coming into the contest, which is going to change every single thing about the game. And talk about new, just reset expectations. I expect Thronebreaker crystals to finally be here. We have a fun, friendly debate going on behind the scenes in the channel if they will finally eliminate 3-star champions from Thronebreaker crystals. Some of you say you don't believe it because also that would change gold, ISO, all that fun stuff. But I think they will. I'm going to go ahead and be on record. I think 4 stars will be the minimum for Thronebreaker crystals. I just think that makes perfect sense, and that would be historically in line. Now, I'm not going to promise it's 300 units for a crystal. I hope it is, but that's still more than $10 worth of units per crystal. So, when we talk about champions, especially 1-star champions, there is one champion that is so crazy that they're a 1-star that it's a joke to talk about, and that is the Summoned Symbiote. Now, of course, mine is maxed out at 8,813, and I can only use him really on special arenas, even though I still don't really use him on special arenas. I just don't use him. And that doesn't really impact many people, even if you are using him when I say special arenas. The Catalyst Clash Alpha Arena, all these arenas, especially after the Black ISO Store buff, desperately need a change. I think given how cheap it is for us to buy Catalyst, especially the top progression levels of the game. And here's looking at you, Tier 2 Alpha and Tier 5 Basic. Why we don't have a Tier 2 Alpha and Tier 5 Basic arena, I'll never know. I need to do a video more in-depth on that at some point, maybe this weekend. But I heard from a summoner who, speaking of the 1-star Summoned Symbiote, he is such an outlier in terms of coding the game that he is literally breaking Battlegrounds matchups. And if you're thinking, what the heck are you talking about, Prof? Well, let's look at an example. I'm darkening the screen right now to bring up Mr. Veiled Fairy. Did I say that right? Veiled Fairy? From the Lord's Alliance. A shout out to the Lord's Alliance. You can see that his opponent is doing Battlegrounds, and I think this is amazing, personally. You've got Battlegrounds of just 1, 2, and 3-star champions and different tiers for that. Heck yeah. I mean, I always think about Battlegrounds in the context of 5 and 6 stars, but this isn't even 4 stars. And I think that's pretty cool. But he is fighting the very highly rated, but because he's a 1-star, he's going under the radar, Summoned Symbiote. So imagine fighting that guy at 3,486 overall rating, which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it is compared to your attackers that have 600 rating, 5 times the rating. That's like fighting before you even get the buff in Battlegrounds in the actual fight and the change of that PI. That's like fighting a 5-star with a 6-star. That's like 40,000 PI. You just don't have a chance. And so, what really, really frustrates this example, because the opponent is drafting that champion, is that he has been banned. You are using the ban on him versus banning somebody else. It's not working, and it's triggering the ability to select him, thus giving your opponent, in this case X Wolverine, maybe? Wolverine? You're giving him a crazy unfair advantage. So Kabam needs to fix the coding of this Pronto for these summoners who are jumping into battlegrounds with these champions. And who knows, maybe they're not beginning summoners. Maybe they're just people who want to bring in like 1 and 2 star decks and have some fun. I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is that it's a crazy story, and Kabam needs to put a stop to it. I appreciate Veiled Fairies reaching out to the channel so we could highlight this issue ASAP.